Hello, my name is Spencer, and I am about to talk to you about something that is incredibly deadly. Something that is probably the most deadly idea I will ever have in my entire life, and it is enormous, and it has taken me years to finalize, and so that's what this video is. I have solved the God problem. The people out there who are religious, who follow gods of every kind of religion, there has been a problem that has been unaddressed by many religious people who don't have any sort of philosophical bones in their body. What the God problem is very basic. If your God, your within your religion, is omnipresent, omnipotent, basically has the power to create life, protect life, perform miracles, create prophets, um, and has all of these powers bottled up within their entity, aligns themselves with good, and then still lets babies get raped and bombed and tortured for the pleasures of others and does not arise and step in, it means that they are negligently complicit in those acts. They are an accomplice for it. We have laws now, we have societal standards that basically say if a kid wanders into a street and an adult who is supposed to be supervising the kid sees a truck coming and does nothing to stop the child from being in the way of the truck and gets hit by it, they are responsible for being negligent to the homicide of what happened. They had the power to stop it. They did nothing, and now they share some criminal responsibility about it. Well, that truth applies to God. If God has the ability to stop the horrors that we see, where is he? What is she doing? What are they doing? What could possibly be so much more important now that the universe is already created that is keeping them from doing their job? And I would say that it's their job because that is what the ancient texts say. It is the job of God to watch out for the things that they created. That's what the word of God comes down to. Let vengeance be mine, saith the Lord. Okay, well, I'm waiting. I am. I'm fucking waiting. Because when I was tortured as a kid, because I was autistic, when I was kicked and beaten, pushed down, I did call out to God and nothing happened. The torture didn't end. And it wasn't like some plan was laid out in motion to elevate me to something. And I thought for a long time, I was one of those people. I went to Jesus camp. Go look it up. Go look up what Jesus camp was. I went to some of the original ones in Kansas. I lived in Overland Park when I was a little kid, and I went to camps during the summer where I'd stay for a week or 2 weeks with my sister and a bunch of other kids, and they literally were so broke that they couldn't put meat in the pasta that they were feeding us because they were too busy buying candy to reward us with if we learned all our verses every day. And we were told that if we towed the line, there'd be a place for us in heaven. Well, I have spent my entire life thinking about that. I have spent my entire life coming to a very, very stark conclusion, and this is how I solved the God problem. God, no matter what the religion is an extension of the identity of the person who is speaking at the time. So the Bible is literally just a manifestation of men who were educated, who could read and write, actually writing down what they wanted at the time. And you know how I know the Bible doesn't actually have like real God words in it? It's just, a bunch of books that are put together by, a council of other men who wanted more control over the world and wanted people to survive long enough to be able to see the next generations. Ezekiel slut shamed his ex-wife until people killed her. And there's just no reason for it. There's just absolutely no reason. Go read the book of Ezekiel. The dude literally slut shamed his ex-wife because she was tired of him beating her, and she left him, and he couldn't wrap his brain around that because he was a dumb motherfucker. And he basically took it out on her, and society rewarded him by giving him a place at the table in the fucking Bible. Fuck that guy. Fuck everybody else who ever fucking said, oh yeah, you know what the answer is? It's just more violence. Well, we're looking at Israel and Gaza right now, and let me tell you, if they had just had an Olympics for who would get to settle the region every 10 years, you could basically say, yeah, have physical competitions or have who even cares? We could do it via video games these days. Your God telling you it's okay to bomb children into oblivion is just you coming up with excuses for why your anger deserves a place at the end of the button that fucking kills people. You're not any better. Any of the Israelites who are bombing or making excuses for bombing these children are not better than Trump supporters or mass shooters, because that's where anger gets you. So your God that you're pushing out there is just the baseline of whatever it takes to survive. Look at what the Jews did. They said, don't eat pork. Why? Trichinosis. They did not understand at the time that shellfish, pork, went bad in the sun, that it would kill people. So someone came along and said, you know what? The current way to get people to really understand not to do this is to say God said so. And it was that guy pushing his identity out on the world saying, hey, I believe this to be the way we will survive going forward. All gods are this thing. All gods are a way with someone's identity to say when everything falls down, this is our basic instinct. And it is a rule. It is a set of rules, a set of morals, a set of parameters that will get us to survive no matter what happens. Ask the Jews. They're still fucking kicking it. And how many times did they hide in a cave in the Bible? A bunch of times. And how many times have mass shooting victims hidden in some place until the people whose wrath was being exhibited on the world passed? The storm of other men's violence is what God was supposed to protect us from. But the truth is that God was never out there. He was always in all of us. That is because it is a projection of our identities upon the world with a set of morals or rules that we all can pass around, spread around like mayonnaise on some fucking bread. Now, those rules in different religions have synonymities. You see Buddhism, Jainism, Islam, Christianity. I'm naming the big ones here, but there are like 4,600 or maybe even more now religions out in the world. I met a guy when I was working at Starbucks a couple of years back who just made his own fucking religion. And all you have to do in order to get 501c3 status or nonprofit status in the United States is have 10 followers and an actual book. That's it. And you can go be just like all the fucking churches here who are just like, oh yeah, my name's Joel Osteen and I've got a jet or 5 and oh no, there's a fucking winter storm that's hurting all my people. Better lock the doors so that our assets are protected. Yeah, well, you know what, Joel Osteen, your God comes from within you. And I have news for you. There is no hell or heaven. Sorry. It was made up because it was the only way to press people into making the right choices to get them to survive at the times that those people wrote those fucking books. So what that means is that you're just a big fucking piece of shit who's going to die. And when you die, no one's going to give a shit about who you are 200 years from now. No one cares who you are, Joel Osteen. Not deep down, because you have nothing true to offer the world that can't be replaced by some other guy on a soapbox propping people up with a nice big white smile. You are 100% replaceable, and hell has plenty of spots left for fucking people who are going to be forgotten by time. Anyway, I know this may seem a little bit off kilter, and you probably are wondering who the fuck I am. Well, I'm the white unicorn of sorts. Common white unicorn, more or less. I'm an autistic guy with an IQ that is absurd. I don't know. I got a 105 on the Mensa entrance exam. That puts me in the top 99.8th percentile of intelligence in the world. And my parents basically raised me to be a white Jesus. I was going to be a missionary. I got called to go help the kids at Columbine when it went down. And I was their age because I was so active in my church and just being able to get people to be good to themselves by that age. I've studied philosophy my whole life. I've studied people my whole life. And if you know anything about autism, you know that each autistic person has special interests. In some cases, it's like Legos, or for me, I've got a large Transformers collection. But each individual autistic person has something they're obsessed with because, according to modern science, there are neurons in our brains that are more tightly packed in certain regions. And as we grow and develop our personalities, what winds up happening is you get these focused neural pathways that treat us with almost a serotonin rush as we play with and deal with the things that we are more interested in. Mine is fucking people. I have been watching and studying you motherfuckers like a fucking hawk my entire fucking life. I love having sex with people. I love fucking having friends. I love fucking everything about people, except for the bullshit that you guys pass around to give excuses to why your gods aren't willing to help other people. So I couldn't in good conscience, as I got to know more people around the world, be loyal to a God who would say that he was going to condemn trillions of children from throughout time to hell because they simply did not have access to Christianity at the time. I mean, basically, Christianity, as it stands, fails every child who was born before Jesus. What happened to all of them? And you're going to tell me that God had a plan, or God maybe let him in? Well, it's not in the Bible. And it's actually in the Bible that those people wrote that God doesn't give a shit. That he basically says, yeah, you know what? I got plenty of you guys, so fuck off. And guess what? There's just more coming. So once we go to Mars, once we go to Venus, once we go sail out into the cosmos, which is coming, I strongly encourage you all to leave the terrestrial gods behind. Make up your own moralities. Find a way to make it good for other people, and don't act like a bunch of dumbasses that if you go and you rape a bunch of women and then you get castrated, that, oh no, this isn't fair. Yeah, guess what? Socializing is that. You fuck around and you find out. There's literally an entire gamut of memes online that say, play stupid game, win stupid prizes. So if you act like an asshole to other people, you're not going to meet their worst versions of them. You're going to fucking meet me. And I'm the one who has studied everything about everybody, and I literally refer to myself online as the king of hell, because I have seen exactly what the worst people put other people through. I have seen what torture looks like. I have seen what waterboarding looks like. And that was my mom on a slow Tuesday. When your mom asks you to pick up a knife in front of you and slice her wrists open, come let me know when you've seen something like that. And maybe we'll talk about what our relative experiences are. Okay? And I'm not doing this because there's some vendetta against God. I'm doing this because I needed y'all to stop acting like a bunch of fucking dumbasses when it comes to equality. Do you know what my life is like? You know what my life is like? Is laughing perpetually at the joke in the Rick and Morty sketch where he slights the president, who is played by Keith David, and that man is a fucking icon. Slights the president of the United States by saying, oh yeah, I solved peace in the Middle East. And the accord is called It's Not That Really Hard If You Think About It Accord. And it's not. I found a solution for it that, if I had the power and the levity to be able to broker the peace, would find an excellent solution that would bring both sides equanimity and money so that they could keep prospering together. Joined hands, 10 fingers, 2 handshakes. But who fucking wants to listen to a guy who doesn't have all his shit together? My life is a fucking mess. I'm sloppy. I had a lot of opportunities to be able to be an engineer and do all sorts of stuff, and because of my autism and the stress and anxiety related to those things, I was not able to fulfill the upward destiny of whatever it was that people had envisioned for me. Instead, I got 2 parents that basically tortured and abused me in order to make me less autistic, because they were afraid, from what we had heard in the Midwest at the time, that it meant I was mentally retarded. Now, I was doing the LSATs when I was in 4th grade. I was doing all right with them because I didn't really understand the English composition sections. But nonetheless, I eventually got to the point where I was able to score that 105. And when I went and took the ASVAB, I got a 97 with one tiny little rule I put on myself. And if there is a recording of it that the federal government has somewhere, please, Freedom of Information Act that. I completed each of the sections in half the time allotted, and I still scored a 97. If there's a video out there, it'll prove it. But the U.S. government has the record of that 97, and it was a very easy thing for me to do. Why I'm bringing that up is not to brag. A lot of people misunderstand this about autistic people. Being direct sometimes means using the greatest example of evidence that you have in your arsenal at the time. And the reason why I want that to be important is because I don't want to be a prophet. I don't want to be a white Jesus. I don't want to be a white Muhammad or a white Moses. I know how Moses did the plagues. I know how he did it. Think about the infrastructure of the Jewish slaves at the time. Think about it. Could they not have had access to every door in the entire city? He recognized that that infrastructure existed, and he used it against Pharaoh. He outwitted the problem. So don't sit here and tell me that there's no solution to the peace in the Middle East. You could have fucking done it years ago if you actually fucking tried. And all the Republicans and all the Democrats who were sitting there being like, oh yeah, we need to work on that. Yeah, they can go fuck themselves. Because if that is their job, is to solve problems for other people so that government can do for them what they cannot do for themselves, y'all are fucking slow as fuck. God damn. Still fighting about the same old bullshit that we had 100 years ago? Jesus goddamn Christ, get with it. Fuck. We have technology that's going to push us into space. All of us are going to have the opportunity to pioneer Mars. So look to the historical references of what happened when the Great Migration happened. I mean, if we know anything, the worst case scenario is that we're going to find natives on Mars that are going to get trampled the fuck out of, or life forms that they are going to absolutely waylay and destroy all of, like they did the bison. Yeah, we got some shit we got to work out. And terraforming, which is another thing that I was working on and saw how far we've come, is actually right at the cusp of being bleeding edge and capable. We could potentially terraform Mars in the next fucking 100 years, or at least get a large chunk of it started. Who wants that? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to predict for you, since, I have prophet status of figuring out some God shit. If y'all don't start behaving with each other, all the people that you're shitting on are going to fucking pack up and leave and move to Mars and leave your asses high and dry. Just like what happened when fucking the United States started. Just like what happened when all of the regions started. When people moved in droves away from power-hungry politicians who didn't know how to fucking stop fighting with each other in order to pull power back and forth between each other. Now, this started as a talk about God and the God problem, but it ends with this. God is always with you. And it's a he or a she or an it or whatever the fuck you want it to be. And what it is at the end of the day is basically learning how to socialize using history, anthropology, sociology, organized behavior, knowledge of your fellow human beings. Because all of us are equal. If you travel enough, you learn. Stupid is the same everywhere. We have the same fucking rapists in India, in China, and Russia as we do here in the United States. Now, what's the problem? Well, if you want to stop them from keeping on raping them, do what Poland does and fucking castrate them. If you want to stop them before they start raping, then you need to deal with their anger issues. Because that's what it always comes down to, is they're fucking angry. And how do I know? Because my best friend from high school turned out to be a big old fucking rapist. And I stopped being friends with him up to that point. And when he tried to fucking dip out and hide, I fucking found him and then fucking told the girls that he was still fucking trying to fuck over. Let them know. Let their families know. Because fuck him. Fuck that kind of shit. He wouldn't fucking listen to me when I told him he needed to stop being so angry at his mom about what she did to him as a kid. It wasn't worth the trouble that he was getting into to be that angry with her. And that's all it really was him being angry with his mom. That's why he kept raping other women. But his God said it was okay because those women deserved it. My 13-year-old friend who came to me and told me that her brother was sneaking into her bedroom at night, and I brought her over to my friend's house, where she confessed that her brother had been doing this for a while. My friend gave her a ride home and conned her into giving him a blowjob when he was 19 and she was 13, after she just admitted to us that she needed help figuring out how to stop her brother from fucking raping her. That's the kind of guy he turned out to be. And I wondered, where was God? Where was God when my autism failed and I didn't see the context of such a piece of shit fucking parading his fucking ass around me, being all macho and trying to act like he could get any fucking girl? Where was God? Where is God? When Gaza's bombs hit those buildings and the little kids couldn't get out in time, why wasn't God there to get a warning out? Why wasn't God there to rescue them? Why wasn't, if God was willing to send a warning to let them know they needed to leave, why not just go the rest of the way with it and say, you know what? You didn't listen to my warning about getting the fuck out because bombs were coming. So you know what I did? I came in and I helped you out. I showed up and I made sure that the time I wasted warning you was well spent by following up and making sure you didn't get hurt because I care about you. Because that's what my God is willing to do. And it's a secret God. It's somebody who doesn't care who you are. All people are equal to my God. And it is the most dangerous thing you could ever possibly hope, because the sword always cuts two ways. So, be bad. I don't care. Be good. I don't care. I don't believe in heaven or hell. I just think that you're going to have a shit-ass life if you're not good to other people. You've only got one shot at this. If hell does not exist, you only have one fucking shot at this. Why are you fucking wasting it? Why are you fucking fighting people on the internet who don't fucking matter? Why are you fucking not passing laws with these stupid fucking people like Nancy Pelosi and fucking Donald Trump? Fucking Ted Cruz, who is arguably one of the most stupid motherfuckers on the planet, keeps getting elected. But yet, when I found a real ring of pedophiles operating on Facebook out in the open, and you can go fucking look it up, I started a petition and not a single fucking Republican from Fox News signed it. Or Newsmax, for that matter. When I brought this to the attention of the FBI and the police, they were like, holy fucking shit, this is some fucking serious shit. Real images depicting children's genitals that Facebook's bots couldn't stop, coming from Russian federal agents, because they're bragging about it. They're bragging about their work with the Russian federal government. And those guys just being pissed off at everybody else in the world, trying to just crush everybody down with fucking fake accounts. And obviously, the caveat is that they're not the only ones. Obviously, this is going all sorts of directions. What I'm getting at is, if disinformation is being passed around like that, if it's coming from these sources, why not be passing legislation that blocks it? Because the worst thing we could have right now is a new Middle Ages crusade. The Crusades were fucking awful for infrastructure. They were awful for wasted expenditures of resources. I mean, my God. Do we have to do this again? You got one shot at this. It's a new digital renaissance. We now have access to be able to walk right up to Donald Trump and tell him what a fucking piece of shit he is, if we believe that. And if you believe that Hillary's a big piece of shit, walk right up to her. But if you're going to hate specifically, if your God's going to tell you to hate, don't just hate a bunch of people that you don't know. I mean, God damn, Israel. Do you even fucking know your neighbors? Do you even fucking know how much disinformation got pumped into your system before you fucking did anything about this shit? You had fucking memes normalizing cruelty towards Palestinians flooding your fucking internet space, and you're sitting there like, we're not bad people. Yeah, well, guess what? The people who are trying to normalize cruelty among you are, and they fucking got you. So I don't really know what to tell you anymore. But I'll tell you this. The God problem is solved because God exists inside of you. He's whatever you want him to be. And if he fails you, it's on you. He's not there to stop the most terrible things. But that doesn't mean you don't have the power to do it yourself. Look at Israel. Ask them if they can protect the world from themselves. Ask the white Christians if they can just stop evangelizing how good white Christ is to everybody else in the world and actually work at home on themselves. Because their naivety, their complacency, their willingness to let teenage girls go without sexual reproductive care in the face of marching through with whatever God wants, yeah, I don't want to be stuck like them, trapped behind a fucking charade of religious text. No. I'd rather be free, taking all the fucking risks, out there helping people, getting my arms fucking dirty with the slop and the dirt that other people find themselves stuck in. I don't know God anything. In fact, when I had the dream that let me meet God inside my own self, I fucking took the sword of Michael and I beat his ass for fucking leaving everybody else hanging. Not me. I'm not begging for myself. I'm not saying that. I don't need a leg up. I survived. I'm good enough. I'm happy about that. I got through whatever I got through. I'm happy about that. I didn't do anything magically successful to get through it. It happened that none of it killed me. But I told God that I would never beg for my soul on one condition. I'd never beg for mercy. I'd never beg to be saved after doing a bunch of bad stuff, if I ever did. On one condition. That he never fucking got in my way again. That if I was going to save people by my own hands, that he'd let me do it. And in exchange, I'd never come begging for mercy. That was the trade. My soul for everyone else's. My soul for all the people I could help. As much of a buffet line as I could get. Just loading it up. Round after round. And I've helped a lot of people. And I've helped a lot of people. A lot of good Christians passed on. A lot of good Muslims passed on. A lot of good Buddhists passed on. I helped a lot of people who needed me most. And at the end of the conversation, if we were at a bar or restaurant or at work or out in a park or wherever it was that I found people who needed help, if they asked me why I was willing to help them, the answer was always the same. I am nobody. The real nobody. I hope that makes sense. Because it's more important to help other people as a nobody than it is to not help people as a somebody. Joel Osteen. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.